what's your general sense of where the pricing's at?
Yeah.
I mean, we see on the Mark-to-Market platform, and obviously speaking to our customers, different things about valuations.
Yeah.
Do we think, is your sense that the competition has pushed the multiples that are being paid up?
Amazingly, no, maybe a little bit, but I think what's happened is that we seem to have had this kind of pricing inflation at the top end of the market. So people are now talking about the big platforms changing hands for 15 times EBITDA, which I think feels like quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but obviously the bolt-ons that are being added during the roll-up are being added for a lot less than 15 times EBITDA. And certainly whenever we've looked at, I think we were looking at this not so long ago, we were looking at the correlation between multiples and size. And you see this in every industry, right? There's this strong correlation between size, positive correlation between size and multiple. And the further down the size spectrum you go, the smaller the multiples are.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe also, if you look at so we think there are between 40 to 45,000 accountancy firms. I think actually if you add in a bunch of kind of small sole traders, I think that number goes up to about 60,000. So maybe there is plenty of supply still out there before you start to see price inflation. So we haven't, but what you've probably got as you go further up the size spectrum and you get into kind of platform territory, that feels like the obvious place to be seeing that price inflation, because there, it just follows that there are fewer of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you've got a lot of money chasing small number of assets, but in terms of the really small bolt-ons, I think what we see and I think what we hear for a lot of the very small stuff is that pricing hasn't really changed too much.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's pricing expectations are too high, you move on to the next one and there are thousands of them to go for.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're looking for a firm that's generating 50 million of revenue, there aren't that many of those around anymore.
No. No.
And I guess that's why, as long as those platform multiples can support, or as long as the market can support multiples of like 15 times for the platform, the model keeps working, right? Because you're going to find sellers below 15 times and play that multiple arbitrage.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, I guess, there's the people who got in early, the PE firms. Obviously, there's some very happy investors.
Definitely. Horizon with Danes, August Equity with AAB. Based on our numbers, fantastic returns. So Cooper Parry, Waterland, Lee. So we're now starting to see precedent, for, because I think that's something that a lot of people ask about is the end game. And okay, you've built a nice big platform, who's your buyer? And I think we're already starting to see that it's these secondary, we've already seen some secondaries in the space.
Yeah.
Especially from international PE.
Yeah.
See the same attractions.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the things that came out, wasn't it? The firepower to be able to do those secondary acquisitions is tending to come at the moment from the US, isn't it? Again, a lot
exactly.
From the US.
Exactly. There was also the point about the private IPO.
Yeah.
Where the US, the giant US PE groups that have been playing in this space, the obvious question to them is, well, who's your buyer? Because there's nobody bigger than you guys, except for the public markets, or the big four. But the big four don't do, the big four don't really do M&A, or they don't buy other accountancy practices. And the answer was, well, we think the demand is going to come from private IPOs, where sovereign wealth funds do club deals to buy these assets. So it's syndicating out the equity, but it's never listed. And they see that as a safe, secure yield play.
Yeah.
And it comes back to kind of the attractions of the industry. As long as you're a very compliance-focused accountancy firm, those revenues should be relatively stable. And if those revenues are relatively stable, the earnings that are being chucked off by those revenues should be relatively stable. So that's a nice stable source of income, source of yield for me.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? The journey, that potentially a relatively small firm could go on from the ownership structure they start with all the way through to being part of a Norwegian sovereign wealth fund investment. Yeah, it's interesting.
Exactly.